purchase something larger for your business, such as furniture, equipment, a computer, or things like renovating or building a home workspace, they are written off differently than other business expenses. Because this is something that presumably you will use in your business for several years, you also dole out the write-off amount over several years. The amount that you can write off for these large purchases each year is called a capital cost allowance. The formula that determines your write-off amount is a bit complicated. That's why I built a calculator that works it out for you into the Canadian Small Biz bookkeeping system, but I still recommend that this calculator be used with accountant supervision. Real quick, before we take a look at the CCA calculator sheet, I wanted to start off on your monthly overview and profit and loss sheets. Although a large purchase doesn't get recorded the same as other business expenses, you should still include it in your ledger because it does affect your cash flow. On the monthly overview sheet, under withdrawals, any large purchases will get recorded as an asset purchase, and the total that you have spent on asset purchases for the month is recorded up top in cell B15. On the profit and loss statement, asset purchases are included on line 41. You'll see that they are not included in the section with the other business expenses, but as they do have an impact on cash flow, they are included in this section with the other expenses. Okay, let's take a look at the calculator itself. This tab is almost all the way at the end, close to the settings and rules page. First thing, you'll need to enter the tax year that you're currently working on up top here, cell B3. That's very important to get the correct calculation for your write-off that's allowed for this year. And don't touch the other two cells. They will update themselves automatically based on what you enter in the log below. And these are your write-off amounts for this tax year. So to enter an asset purchase, you'll put in what the purchase was, the year that it was purchased, and then you can link up your receipt or invoice from your cloud storage platform here as well. If it's something like a home office build or a renovation project where there was a bunch of receipts that are related to this particular expense, I would set up a specific folder for them within your receipt storage, and then I would link to that folder rather than to one specific receipt. The starting value is what you paid for it, including any taxes. So if it was something like a piece of equipment, you just put what you paid for it. And if it's something like a project, then you're going to put in the total value of all of the labor, the materials, licenses, inspections, stuff like that. Now here's where it gets a little bit tricky. The next thing you have to enter is the asset rate. What's that? So the CRA assigns different rates to different classes of assets that determine how much you can write off in a year as part of your capital cost allowance. Some common ones are 55% for computers and software, 4% for building or renovations, 20% for tools and equipment that are used to produce a good that you sell that are valued at $500 or more, and 100% for tools and equipment that you use to produce your goods for sale that are under $500. If you have anything you're not sure about, just send me an email and ask, or ask your accountant. So you'll take the rate for this asset purchase and you'll put it in the asset rate column as a decimal. So for example, this was a computer purchase, which the asset class rate is 55%. So you put 0.55 in this column. Next, you'll check off home expense if it was something that was purchased for your home. So an example could be a home office build or renovation, but it's something that will get some business use as well. For everything else, just leave this box unchecked. So if it's purely a business purchase, don't check home expense. If it's both a home and business thing, then you will check that off. Again, if you have something and you're unsure of whether it should be a home expense or not, just send me an email and ask, or check with your accountant. Then there is the half-year rule checkbox. The half-year rule means that you can only write off 50% of the value of a purchase in the first year that you have purchased it. And this applies to almost all of the asset classes. The only exceptions are if you were to sell that asset within the same year of purchasing it, then you can use the full amount as your write-off. And most tools that are under $500 don't have the half-year rule apply to them unless they are dies, jigs, patterns, molds, and laths, and the cutting part of any shaping machines. Those specific things are subject to the half-year rule. And that's it. That's all you need to fill in. The sheet handles the rest for you automatically. You don't have to look at these columns over here. These are just for the calculator to use to get your total numbers for up here. And the two numbers are your total capital cost allowance for your business only expenses. So this is for all of them that have been entered down here. And then the capital cost allowance for this tax year for ones that are for business use at home. And it's not just for expenses that were purchased in this tax year. It's what you can write off for all of your previous purchases from all years that still have some value left in them that you're allowed to apply as a write-off. At a certain point, you will have used up the entire value of the purchase, and then you won't have anything further to write off from it. So when you set this up for a new tax year, you can copy over everything from what the item was to the half year rule. You can paste that into your new sheet for the new tax year, and then just update this up top, the current tax year number, and that will give you your updated totals for the current tax year. So that's it. It's a complicated formula that the CRA uses, but I tried to make it as straightforward as I could with the calculator. I think the trickiest part is probably just sorting out what asset rate to use for each purchase. And remember that if you have questions about that or anything else in the system, just send me an email and ask.